Welcome to another fire episode of the Mixtape Queens podcast, where we bring you the hottest and most empowering people on the planet. Today, we have the gracious and awesome Sam Castle, the founder of Be You Do You. How you doing today, King?
I'm doing very well. Grateful to be here.
I know that's right. It's another day to live in the light, okay?
Another day to live and spread positivity and
Period.
love on.
Right. Which is not always easy to do in this world, and it takes a lot of work. So we're trying to find out how. I think we all are searching for that greatness that's inside of us. And you've kind of dedicated your life to that. So, we're excited to pick your brain and for our listeners as well to get some value into this humanity that we're all facing. So our first question is, we're curious, like, where are you from? And we want to find out more about your background.
I'm originally from the Bay Area, East Oakland, California to be exact. But my mom moved us to, you're probably not familiar, but Solano County area, Vacaville, 707. She moved the family there to, have a better life. And from there, I've just been all over the place. I've moved all over from Vallejo, Vacaville, San Francisco Bay Area to where I lived in San Francisco from 2004 to 2012. I've been all over, experienced life, hardships, trials, tribulations, learned a lot from them. And now I'm here in the dry ass Central Valley. It's hot as hell out here in the summertime, but this is where my wife and I reside. We've been here since 2019. We're both pursuing therapy, clinical counseling. We've both found our purpose. Okay, can you pause that? Because I'm nervous. Pause.
Yeah, you're good.
You're fine.
You're good.
You said, cut. Wait a minute. Hold up.
You know what? I am not the best storyteller because so much.
No. See, but I don't want you to think that you're doing like bad. Like you're doing really good. You're doing really good. Yeah, don't be so harsh on yourself. Like you're doing real good.
And see, that's the thing is that you grow up, we're our biggest critics. And that's where Be You Do You kind of came from, is like embrace all parts of you. The critical part of you, the kind part of you, the messy part of you, the good and the bad, the ugly, the ups and downs. So that's what Be You Do You is pretty much all about. It's just being who you are. You don't need permission to do those, to be who you are. I think the game-changing event for me was meeting Steve Bacon, Coach Steve Bacon. I met him through another friend of mine who's a successful real estate agent, very successful. But if I didn't meet this young guy who was a real estate agent, I wouldn't have met Steve Bacon. So just that right there kind of confirmed my purpose and where I was supposed to be going in my life. Because I'll give you the backstory. So I was on my way to the gas station. I pulled in front of the gas station and I saw this guy in the front with his family, and they were selling something. And you know how you see someone in the front of the gas station, you're like, let me go this way and avoid them at all costs. I don't want to buy nothing. I don't want to talk to them. So that was my mindset. I just wanted to go in the store, get what I needed, and come out. Well, I happened to have the same kind of car as this guy did. And that's what sparked up the conversation. And he started sharing with me how he was a successful real estate agent. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I also got my certification as well, but I'm really not doing anything with it. And so then he started telling me about the credit business and entrepreneurship. And so I've always been the kind of person that I'm not going to turn something down just because I don't know about it. If it sparks my interest, I want to learn more, because I feel like there's nothing wrong with learning, right? And so I knew a lot about credit. because I fixed my own credit and I started doing credit restoration for a year. And that's how I got introduced to entrepreneurship for the very first time. Like, it just completely opened my eyes to a whole nother life. Like, I can create my own schedule. I can also impact people, and I can make money and enjoy doing what I'm doing. So I did that for a year. That really didn't speak to my soul. Like, I always knew in the back of my head that it was either going to be counseling, therapy, or something around that realm, like coaching realm. But I was running away from it. And I feel like coaching, counseling found me, if that makes sense. And so from that day of meeting Asher, I met Steve. I met Steve through Asher. So had I not sparked up a conversation with this guy in front of the gas station, I would have never met Steve. And I would have never met you guys. And I would have never met the people that I met along, my journey of healing. So meeting Steve was another game changer because he helped pull out of me what was already there. Like, he saw greatness in me. It was just, I needed to see it. And so working with him for almost a year, I created a new self-image. I got rid of old beliefs that weren't serving me in my life. Created new values, just created a whole new self-image of like this confident man that I always knew that I was since I was a young kid. So now I'm finally living the life that I've always dreamed about. But I took a chance on me and getting rid of, the trauma. Like, I made amends with my trauma in my past. And so I'm here now, just trying to help as many people as possible. Be you, do you.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, take us back to your first meeting with Steve, because a little background, Steve is our cousin on Amanda's side. And so, we just really found him. He was like our long lost cousin that we never really talked to. Wow. And when I started hearing about Uncle Steven saying, yeah, your cousin Steve, and mentioning what he's doing, I said, well, why don't we message him? Because that sounds awesome. And we messaged him, and he called us that day. We FaceTimed. And ever since then, it's like,
he drew me in because he knew exactly who I looked like. And he said my mom's name like right away. He said, you look just like Cousin Farrah. It's tripping me out.
Yeah.
And I said, that's my mom. He said, oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't even know she had a daughter. Like, I didn't know. Like,
right.
So it was like an instant connection with him. And he was able to awaken me up here as well. And her as well.
And we got to go meet him and Cam. We stayed with them for a couple days. And
beautiful people.
We got to, visit them. And so tell us more about meeting Steve and the process of, your beliefs changing and everything.
I can see the look on your face already. You're like, whoo.
You know what? Steve, it was a different level of love that I had never experienced in being in front of another human being. It's so hard to describe, but it was like the next thing close to God love. Like being in his presence and working with him. So I was scrolling on Facebook, like I said, and I seen a post from the guy I met at the gas station, who's the real estate agent Asher Bell. I seen that he had just coached with Steve, and he was saying how Steve like helped him scale his business like to another level. Like, he was making triple the income that he was making in his business. And I was like, oh shit, who is this guy? And so I went on his page and I started, doing my research, doing my homework. And I reached out to him and I was like, whatever you have, I want it. And he sent me some messages and he was like, you know what? You just need to pull the trigger. Just take a leap of faith. And of course, when he told me the dollar amount, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Where am I going to get this money from? Where am I going to get this kind of money from? It was a $20,000 investment. And I have never I probably have spent that kind of money on frivolous things, right? But you don't think about that because we spend money that gratifies us. We don't spend money on things like personal development and coaching. And so I was very skeptical of it. And I sat down and I had a conversation with my wife. My wife was nervous as shit as well. But she was like, babe, if this is something that you feel like you need to do to, resolve some things, to heal from your trauma, to get over your past, then I'm on board with you. So when COVID hit, I saved up some money. I had saved up some money from stocks, and I used some of the money from my stocks to invest in life coaching with Steve. And I spent two full 8-hour days doing a breakthrough session with Steve, which kind of like really just peeled back layers and layers of trauma that I didn't even know I had that still was there. Feeling resentment that my dad wasn't in my life because he was out there on drugs. Feeling resentment that, I didn't feel supported by my mom when I first came out, about my sexual orientation and identity. Just feeling a lot of anger and resentment. And that's what we worked around, Steve and I. And so it was a life-changing experience working with him. Like just being able to know that I could rewrite my whole entire story and my whole way of being and thinking. Like I didn't even know that was something that I could do. Because that's not something that you're taught.
Mm-hmm.
You're just taught to cope and put a Band-Aid over things and, pray to God it'll be okay. And, what else? But he was able to show me that there is something else outside of your trauma.
Mm-hmm. And that's power. I just love him so much. Like,
yeah,
you're right though. There is a presence that Steve has. Like, I'm like really proud to call him my cousin. I talk about him in almost every episode because I love him that much. I'm like, you are like, Yeah. And like my wife says, like all the time, like what people view as how they say, oh, Jesus can save you. I feel like there's a form of what we would call Jesus or a savior that comes to you in different forms and in different ways. It may not always be through religion, but it could just be somebody that wants to simply help you see a better life for yourself.
Yeah.
And Steve has that presence about him. I think he is kind of like a Jesus to a lot of people because there's hundreds of people that he's been able to save from their own agony by helping them work through it because he had to do the work first to even show anybody.
Right.
And so I appreciate you explaining that and breaking that down because that is a powerful person. So whoever's listening, if you going through some stuff and you want to have a breakthrough, you don't want to carry that with you for the rest of your life, baby, go hit up my cousin. Steve Bacon, Belief Theory.
Yeah. Like you said, he's definitely, he's not the God, but he's a God. He was created by the creator, and that was something that he made me see too, because before I met him, I was, I was going through the motions of life, like feeling stuck and what's next. And, like I said, not feeling supported, beating myself up over things that I did in my past, just holding on to a lot of things that wasn't helpful. And I just didn't want to continue to replay, or perpetuate that cycle of trauma, like responding a certain way, letting my anger and my emotions get the best of me, and then blaming it on other people. Now that I understand how trauma works, it's like, even though I am an adult, I was walking around, I was still that wounded child.
I feel you on that.
Yeah, and Steve really isn't saving anybody. He's just empowering people to save themselves.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he had to go through it so that he could show people, look, you can do this.
Yeah.
Right? You can break through that and actually be this different person that you want to be.
Yeah.
It's all about you wanting to do the work. And that's what really caught me and like brought me in, because I'm like, what is this? What's belief theory? What's that? And then we were able to really form these amazing connections with several different people, as well as yourself, through Steve, because he genuinely believes in us and open our minds up to the possibility of believing in ourselves with that same amount of like, go get it.
Yeah.
You know?
He's like, until you believe in the belief that I have, that like I believe in you. You know,
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
what kept me, that's what kept me in it. There was times where I like, you know, I did curse him out once or twice, you know, during the time together. But he held space for me to do that because he knew where it was coming from. And he lit the fire under my ass that I needed. And I love his personality, because if he wasn't like he is, you know, like just really hardcore, like if he didn't curse, I probably would have been able to take advantage of the situation, you know? So I'm glad that he has the personality that he has.
Absolutely, 100%. I think a lot of people are they need that.
Yeah.
They need that person in their life to put that fire under their ass. But in a good way, to where you're developing past this blockage. That's what I'm starting to call trauma. It's a blockage.
Wow.
It's like how like monks and gurus would say, like, your chakras aren't aligned. There's a blockage there. So you can't reach enlightenment without unblocking all of that baggage. So yes, absolutely.
Yes. So okay, so you meet Steve, and you go through this transformative process of rewiring your thoughts and your belief system and creating a new version of yourself, and really finding the future you that you're working towards, and like building that future you. So take us through how working with Steve inspired you to do therapy and start Be You Do You.
So I had been in and out of therapy since in my 20s. So I'll be 41 in 6 days. So I started therapy. Yeah, I don't look it, huh?
Thank you. Not even a little bit. You look great.
Yeah, thank you. That's what minding your business gets you.
Oh.
Be you, do you. You'll live longer. No, I had been going in and out of therapy in my 20s, but when I reflect back, I realized I wasn't ready to receive therapy at that time. So I would say I really started taking therapy in 2017. Like that's what ultimately started mine and my wife's healing journey. Trying to be as transparent and open as possible. So I went to jail in 2017 for the second and last time. And a lot of the reason was, of course, it was unresolved trauma. It was for a domestic-ish dispute. And because of what I saw growing up, I thought that was ultimately the way relationships were supposed to look like. Not excusing the behavior, but I recognized it. And that was when I told myself I wanted to change and I wanted to do something different. So fast forward, working with Steve, that's what made me get back into therapy, as well as like a way to, you know, like almost like a tune-up. I felt like it was necessary to finally heal from a lot of shit that I was holding on to. So working with working with Coach Steve and therapy in combination just helped me get to a different level in life. And a perfect example of that was I was able to reconnect with my dad. My dad had been on drugs since I was 2 years old. He's now 60. I'm 40. And just last year we were able to reconnect, and he lives with me now. So had I not gone through my work and reconciled with the past and forgave him for not being there, I don't think I would have been able to have him under my roof. And so this is the first time in over 30 something years that we've been under the same roof. And so Forgiveness played a huge part in that. Healing helped me forgive him, helped me forgive my mom, and just realize that they did the best that they could. There's no guidebook that comes with parenting. And when I say they did their best, it doesn't mean that what happened still didn't affect you. But you get to choose how you respond to the situations. And so that's what I decided to do. Like, I decided to forgive, because he's a human being just like me.
That's beautiful. That's so powerful. And I know that's going to touch somebody else out there and make them really rethink and reconsider the way that we respond to things. I think we all have had issues, or what we called issues, with our parents. And especially in some cases when it comes to the father, because we already know the mother. Most of us are with our mothers, and we get that trauma bond with our mom. So that's a whole nother set of issues. But the father is like a whole nother thing. Like, I personally, I feel you on that, because I didn't know my dad like that, but because he wasn't in my life, I had a stepfather, don't get me wrong. He's a good father, and he raised me. You know, I appreciate him for that. But my biological father, I, for years, would just like, I wouldn't even want to think about it, because it was I didn't know that it was like something that was really bothering me internally and mentally. And I just became aware of this like last year. I'm like, okay, so this is bothering me that this person wasn't there. This is bothering me that we didn't have that bond. Then I started feeling all these feelings of, well, why didn't he want to be there? Or did he even know I existed? Or blah, 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 blah. And I put a lot of blame on the parents, when in all actuality, when I think back on it, I'm like, dang, okay, wait. My parents were teenagers at the time.
Right.
A lot of the times our parents are just kids themselves, and they don't know anything. Like you said, they don't know anything about being parents.
They don't.
They're kids, and then they're forced to be parents because they had a baby. So, you know, I definitely get that. But I have a bond with my biological father now too. I was able to work through that because of Steve. So I definitely get you. I understand, overstand, and understand for sure.
Thank you for sharing that. But no, you're right. I feel like anything's possible. And, you know, for the longest time, I didn't think that it was. I thought he was going to die out there on the streets, you know, and I just thought it was just going to be what it was going to be. But
look at you now.
Yeah, look at me now. I'm at a loss for words, because again, I'm like, damn, this just happened last year. It happened so fast. But had I not done my own healing work, and had I not just released the past and let it go, it wouldn't have been possible.
And I must say, love looks great on you.
Thank you.
And I can tell you have that love for your father now.
Oh,
it's there, and it's deep. And there's a certain connection that you have with, I don't care what anybody says. I love my dad. Even though we're not like that, I love him. Because I see where my personality comes from. And I know you see that too. Like, you see the little quirks and the kinks and the, like, you might look at them sideways because, like, oh, that's where I get it from. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
he be giving me little attitude here and there. And I'm like, oh. But I see, I know where I get it from. But yeah, no, it's been a beautiful journey. And man, I've connected with so many different dope souls, you and your wife, other great coaches. I've been on other podcasts. I've been able to start a podcast of my own, which I didn't even, I'm like, what is a podcast? I'm still used to Nintendo era, you know. I'm an 80s baby, so I was like, where's the Sega Genesis at, you know?
Gosh.
Rotary phone. I still got a rotary phone in the house, but podcast was just a different beast for me. But I got connected with a friend of Steve's, Big Tommy Burns. I don't know if you heard of Big Tommy Burns, but He's the founder of Strongman, and him and Steve are good friends. But he started these clarity calls, and so my wife and I showed up every Sunday, religiously every Sunday for an hour to basically, it allowed us to create our life for the year. Like what did we want to get accomplished? And starting a podcast was one of them. Getting my first coach client was another one through my podcast, which I did. My very first podcast interview was one of my coaching clients. But again, it all started with that belief, like working with Steve and working on my belief system and knowing that I was capable of doing it and that it wasn't too late. Because that was another thing. I thought that I was too old to recreate my life. And I thought that, okay, I'm just going to keep working a 9 to 5 and retire and then maybe travel a little bit here and there and then die. Like that was my thought process. Mm-hmm. So I created a podcast. Then I created merchandise a year later, which you guys helped me do. Yeah. And I'm heading back to school in January for clinical counseling. I'm not running from my purpose anymore. It's caught up with me.
Period. Yes, I know that's right.
It caught me.
Yes. So right. Tell us more about the podcast, because I'm a big believer that podcasts are extremely important for us, because in a world where we're all disconnected behind a keyboard and hiding in this facade of, typing, social media, I feel like a podcast really opens the dialogue for us to really make change and connect as a human race and build communities and build kind of like mega mind groups of people who have the same passion or the similar struggles. So can you tell us how the podcast has affected you, and like through the interviews, what kind of like feedback you get, and maybe some of the topics that you talk about, and or some of the people you've had on there?
That's a good question. So I've had a variety of people on my podcast. I mean, I've had guests from Canada, India, like all throughout the country be on my podcast. So Be You Do You is more of like empowerment, self-development, just a platform for people to share their stories. I've had guests say that my podcast was the first where they were able to, use their voice, which I felt really good about. I haven't so much done like my own, like share my own story. It's kind of more so been the other way around, helping other people share their stories. But what I'm trying to show through Be You Do You is that we're all connected. Doesn't matter how we identify, doesn't matter our race, our sexual orientation. We can all pull from each other's stories and relate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
That's pretty much what Be You Do You is. It's like we're all connected at the end of the day. Even in our differences, we're so much alike. And that's what I found through each guest. Like there's so many different similarities. There's so much that is alike than different. But we get in our own way and we try to separate. Well, I'm Black, or I'm gay, or I'm straight, and we separate ourselves.
Absolutely.
And Be You Do You is about it's about coming together. No more separation.
Period. I love that. Kind of reminds me of what is it, that Rasta philosophy? Like the I and me sees the I and me. So we know that we are the God together.
Yeah.
And we're just experiencing life through different forms, through different eyes. But we all have this same want and need to be heard and uplifted at the same time. So that's okay. I better tap in and go listen to Be You Do You podcast, go buy some merch and everything. I'm playing with y'all.
Yeah. So I want to recommend everybody to go to your website,
Mhm.
budoyoucoaching.com.
Yes.
Beautiful website and one of the best I've ever seen.
It's one of the
So-
best I've
Created by her. One of the best
So-
I ever seen.
But yeah,
Period.
we want people to contact you and you know, if they want to be on the podcast, to fill out the form and get involved, and like you said, to pull the trigger, like to take that leap of faith and, you know, contact you, and also check out your merchandise and, you know, all of that stuff, because you know, I think if we're not following some type of purpose, the more that we start to awaken and we're not, like, we know, okay, this is what I love, this is my purpose, and we're not following that, I feel like we're so entrapped by chaos.
Mhm.
If you're not following your purpose, I feel like you're really like gonna struggle. And I think even an insect or even a you know, an animal strives to be happy rather than suffer.
Right.
So yes, everybody tap in budoyoucoaching.com. And we're not done yet. We have some more questions.
Yes.
But you know, I just wanted to
coaching.com, and then Printify is in the works as well. Shout out to you guys. Yeah, I just, you know, when you talk about purpose and then just next level, I just felt like that was the next level. Like something was just pushing me outside of my comfort zone and saying, you know what, just launch the Printify store and do what you got to do. You know,
Mhm.
yeah, you got to start somewhere. And
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of things that we people don't even know about until they hear from it. And you being able to share your story and share your podcast and share your merchandise, that's just another way to help people, because what you're doing has so much passion and spirit behind it. So we're big supporters of you, and we love you a lot. And
that means a lot.
you know, and we've been growing our friendship for a while now, but we're excited for everybody else to be introduced to you.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, usually this is a music podcast, and, you know, we're not just talking about music on here. We're all trying to relate to each other and find some type of value in every situation. So, you know, it's really special what you do. And
I can sing a song next time. I can
yeah.
sing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Hit them notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe
you could rap a little bit.
Oh yeah. Be you, do you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got y'all with that one.
It's kind of fire.
It's kind of fire. Yeah.
So let's see. All right. Well, you know, you do more than be you, do you, right? You help people with therapy, and you help people with real issues. What are some of the things that someone that's listening right now can do to you know, take a step forward in the right direction towards awakening themselves to a better future?
I would say go to a quiet place, because it's really in, and not to sound woo-woo-ish, it's really in silence where you'll get the answers that you need. Go to a silent place. Start journaling. Write out what it is that you want to do in life, and you have to block out the noise, block out the opinions and thoughts of other people, because if you don't, that will hinder you. Their voices will pull away from what's inside of you. Like, you don't ever want someone else's voice to get so loud that you can't intuitively hear your own, you know, spirit speaking. So I would say take time out to be alone. There's nothing wrong with being alone, and figure out who you are, what you want to be, how you want to impact the world. Don't just do it for you, but how is it going to impact me, make me better, and how is it going to impact the world? And if you need help with that, you can hire a coach, or a therapist can also help. But ultimately, the answers are within. You just have to be willing to sit down with yourself, get comfortable with yourself, and be ready to do the work. It's uncomfortable sometimes. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, but it's worth it. It's worth it to work it.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, real big thing you mentioned is eliminating those distractions, because I think it's so hard for us to find a quiet place nowadays. Like, we drive by and we see the older people sitting outside and they're just sitting there.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, they're not even on their phone or anything. Like, they're just chilling. So, I think it's hard for us to unattach ourselves to social media, to our family and friends who want to put all their drama on us and all the other drama at the workplace and even at church. There's so much going on that it's hard for us to unattach sometimes. So that's a great idea, to get silent, really shut off the TV, shut off the music that you're listening to, just really get silent in yourself, let yourself think, and so I'm curious, because I know there's going to be some people that, I don't need a coach, I can just do it myself, which is true. It's like you said, it's all within. Even as a coach, you're not saving people, you're empowering them to save themselves. So what are some of the benefits of having a coach? Because I kind of know, like, when I go to the gym, to get a personal trainer can be really helpful, right? Like, I can go to the gym by myself and work out pretty hard, but having someone with experience and someone to push me when I'm ready to quit, right? So what are some of the other benefits of having a coach?
Like you said, the accountability, someone to push you, someone to guide you, someone that's going to pour into you and uplift you. I mean, it doesn't have to be a coach. You can even have a friend be your accountability partner. Just as long as it's someone who is pouring into you and not subtracting from you. Like, that's important. Someone who's on the same path as you, or like-minded as you, someone who has goals and is working on themselves as well. Like, even now to this day, I have a coach. I still have a coach. I still work with a coach, and I still see a therapist. Just staying connected to those positive outlets is important, because it's so easy to get wrapped up in social media, what you see, what you hear. It's so easy to do that and then forget everything that you've learned. It's very easy to do that. It's very easy to slip back into the old mentality and the negative thinking. So make sure you're always stay connected to someone or something positive, whether that's reading, journaling, meditating, following up with an accountability partner, a coach, a pastor, someone that's positive and that's pouring into you.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah.
Because the moment you feel like you got it all figured out, watch what happens.
Right.
Okay, you going,
Right.
Yeah,
I think the highest form of wisdom is like realizing you know nothing.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying, what I'm starting to realize is that when people say master of none, it's really master of none. Even for those, like, for instance, we love India. We see those sadhus out there and those gurus out there. They're out there in the Himalayas. They could be up there for 10 years inside this freezing cold, and they will be okay because they have trained their bodies to do that. But these people can still get sick. These people can still get hurt. And they know that because they know that you are the master of none. You can only get better at what you're doing, but nobody's the master at anything. Nobody's here to be perfect at anything. You could go and be in school for 15 years to be a doctor and still fuck up on somebody's surgery.
Yeah.
Because nobody is the master of anything. And instead of trying to master things all of your life, I have to master this, I have to master this, you need to learn to actually let go of this thinking that you have to master something, because that could be the very thing that is holding you back from reaching these goals, being prosperous in all of your endeavors, all these different things. And so I'm like really starting to, I feel like ever since I met Steve, I've been able to like really tap in the source, and I'm like hearing more clearly like the inner God in me speak to me like, yo, this is what it is and this is what it's not. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're right. He introduced me to a lot of books too. So I feel I feel the same way that you feel and resonate with you so much. Like I've been able to tap into that intuition more now than I ever have. And sometimes it's scary.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
But it's real. It's real stuff. And I don't think God would have given it to us if he didn't want us to use it. But use it wisely. Use it wisely and make sure you're using it not just to help yourself, but other people around you. That's what I've learned too. Like, let go of the ego. Let go of the ego. And yeah, just be kind to other people around you. Like, it might be hard, but that's the best solution.
Absolutely. Also, to the people out there, if you have that deep intuition and you hearing messages and you receiving from source, let me tell you something. Sometimes those are personal messages for you only to hear, because it will not resonate with certain people. And that could be your friends, that could be your family, that could be a stranger. It doesn't matter. Have discernment over what is meant to be shared and what is meant for you. That's it.
Preach. Yeah. Not everybody be able to handle it either. And
absolutely.
I don't know. I don't know where I heard it from, but I don't know if it was a quote or somewhere I read it, but it said where you're at in your journey might trigger someone else in their chapter or where they're at in their journey. So they might not even be ready to hear what you're trying to share, even if it is something positive.
Yep.
You know,
that's the one.
That's something I've learned too. Like, people aren't celebrating you because they don't want to. You can't expect people to celebrate you if they can't even celebrate themselves.
Absolutely. You know what? I just want to say that I just love you so much. I love you and Steve, and I love Cam. I love what y'all do. I love what y'all fight for. And it really means a lot to me to see other people who I resonate with that want to uplift people that are ready to be uplifted.
Yeah.
Some people are not, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that I think that I've learned from like watching you and watching Steve and Cam is like accountability over victimhood any day. Any day. Because I've leveled up like 20-fold with just knowing that. Like, oh wow, okay. So I'm realizing what I'm holding on to that actually has nothing to do with these other people that's holding me back. And we play victim to our own suffering inside, like all of our lives. And it just like taints the way that we want to grow. It taints our hearts, it taints our souls, and then we feel stuck and stagnant. And now we mad at everybody else for all of our problems that we like we're not failing to do, but refusing to conquer. Right. So accountability over victimhood any day.
Any day. Yeah. Accountability looks good on you too, though. Yeah, it looks good on you.
Okay, clears your skin up.
You sound like a coach.
Okay. Oh, you know what? I've been thinking.
No, that's so true, because you can't. Accountability has to be for you. You know, I had a situation with a family member that didn't want to take accountability, and I was like, you have to take accountability for you. You can't wait for somebody else to be the person, because what if they never take accountability? You're gonna be waiting around playing victim for the rest of your life, and just not owning up to the part that you played in the story, because we all have a part, good, bad, negative, positive. Like we're all playing a part in this game called life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is what it is.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah. So I want to play the game without the suffering, if possible. If
That
possible. Because I know things are gonna happen, but I can control what I can control. So that's what matters.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, I know that with Be You Do You coaching, you put your heart and soul into what you do. You know, you help people in countless ways, and you have done so much inner work in order to be able to do that, to be able to carry that weight. And you know, it's very honorable. My question is, okay, so let's say investment financial was no issue. Let's look into that future Be You Do You, and I want to hear what kind of huge aspirations and goals you might see for Be You Do You, for not just the brand and the coaching, but for the world, the impact on the world. So kind of like imagine, you know, money was no factor and you could do anything. What kind of things would you have in mind?
Wow. No one's ever asked me that.
Surprise.
Surprise. I see Be You Do You going global. I see it helping the less fortunate. That's what I'm really passionate about. So I'm a part of a homeless ministry. It's been a while since I've been out there, but I just enjoy giving back. And so I'd like to get more involved in like philanthropy and just and donate when I get to that point. Donate to like the LGBTQ youth that need support. Donate more to the homeless, build housing, you know, like and then also like provide resources. Because I do feel like there's just some people that don't have the resources. So to provide the tools and resources for people to be successful and accomplish what it is that they want to accomplish. Also want to start a school too, a Be You Do You like online university, like how to empower yourself, how to be your authentic self, and collaborate with other individuals. I don't know who those people are, maybe celebrities, entertainers. I don't know. Man, y'all got me. I want Be You Do You is a movement. Like I want to see billboards on TV, magazines, bus depots. I want kids rocking Be You Do You, infants, elders rocking Be You Do You, everybody. And I want them to say, you know what, through Be You Do You, we were able to come together in spite of our differences.
That's beautiful.
I'm really big on that because transparent moment. I'm just tired of the division in the world. I'm tired of the division, and I'm tired of the media, you know, playing off of everybody's emotions, and we're so quick to feed into it, and it's like, when are we going to wake up and realize that it's a distraction? Like the goal is to divide us. But if we come together as a collective, like we can literally put an end to that. And I know that there's more people out there than not that wants that to happen. And so what, you know, through Be You Do You, if I can help create that individual, like empower that person to let them know, like, you know what, at the end of the day, it all starts with love. Loving you and then loving people, because that's what it's truly about. Forget the labels, forget the boxes you want to check. At the end of the day, it's truly about love. Because if I can't love my neighbor in this life, but then I say, when I get to heaven, no, start loving your neighbor now. Like, like make it make sense. If I can't love my neighbor now in this life, but then if I think that there's a heaven that exists, but I'm not loving my neighbor now,
Right.
then
That
the
part.
heaven ain't gonna matter.
Right. That part.
What did I do in this life?
That part.
Right. I think that's huge. You know, I'm thinking a lot of people
That makes
are.
sense. I just rambled a lot, but
No, you're
No,
good.
it was okay. Period.
No, it's great. It's
I
great.
tell you, it was.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's beautiful because we want to tap into that essence of what you do and see the vision, and it's beautiful. We are 100% a part of everything you do. We're supporters, and you know what keeps hitting me is that there's probably a lot of people out there who have been through so much, and maybe they've been reaching states of higher consciousness gradually, and for some reason they're still suffering because of the outer world really affecting them. And I think more people should think about doing coaching, and you don't have to be a coach or a therapist or a counselor to help people. You can help your family, you can help a lot of people, and that starts by leading by example. You know, we can't just sit here and say, oh, you should do this and this, and we're not doing it ourselves.
Correct.
And a lot of times we could tell people things, but they don't hear it until they see an action, an example. So yeah, I think this is great. I think Be You Do You is such a powerful brand and a movement and a community of people that we need in the world.
It's gonna be bigger than you even imagine that it's gonna be. Like this is like what people imagined as something they would leave as a legacy to carry on throughout the time that all humanity is here on this planet. And it starts with 1, and then it goes to 2, and then it doubles. Now you're at 5, now you're at 6, now you're at 10. And then pretty soon, like you said, it's gonna be the whole world. They'll feel it. They'll feel it. I believe that. I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe it.
I receive it. That means a lot. That means a lot. Thanks for asking me that question, because now it gives me something to think about, like how do I really want to impact the world? Because there's a lot of people out there that's hurting and don't even realize it. And then especially, you know, for the LGBTQ community. I mean, I'm for everyone. I see past all of that, but you know, a lot of people want to end their life because they can't be who they are. You know, I was there. And so I understand the importance of having a support system and somebody to say, hey, I see you. You know, you're loved, you do matter. I think it's important.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
I love it.
I am honestly just like super happy that we got to have this conversation. Obviously, we talked a little bit on your podcast, Be Do You podcast. Hello, go check it out. But I also just love seeing this side of you, because I know a lot of people that may follow you or that may support you, they may not see this side of you on a regular basis. They may not hear this side of you on a regular basis. So for them to get that deeper insight to who you are and what is like rooted in your spirit to do while you still have the ability to walk this, you know, this earthly plane is amazing. And I mean, that's what I love about podcasts. I, for one, know that I cannot keep my mouth shut and I like to talk. So I had to find something to do with that.
Yeah.
Podcast is it. Okay.
I just appreciate you guys just inviting me on. And this is probably probably the first time that I've ever gone that deep.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it won't be the last.
it goes back to that, that fear thing, like, oh my God, what are people gonna think, or what are they gonna say? Is it, is it gonna come across the right way? I don't ever want to offend nobody.
Wait, let me stop you there. This is gonna be my very first of my coaching advice.
Yeah.
What you said here today, yes, the listeners will hear you, and it will resonate with the people it's supposed to resonate with.
Right. Yeah, you're
But
right.
what you just said here today is for Sam Castle. This is for you. This is you being you and doing you. That's you.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to let that smile shine through, because I could feel your energy shifting off of that. I know you feel it.
Right.
That's like what we call our highest self coming through to speak for us when we start envisioning what we're supposed to be doing here on this planet. That's what they don't teach us. That's what they don't coach us to do.
Yeah.
And you're doing it. You're living it. You're envisioning it. You're bringing it to life every time you speak on it, every time you say something about it.
Yeah.
You are making that happen for yourself. So I'm proud of you. She's proud of you. Yeah. Okay. Pop.
No, you're right.
Playing.
Be you, do you is for me too. That's why I
Absolutely.
started.
Absolutely.
It's not just for the world. It's for me. It's a constant reminder for me to, you know what you're telling other people to do. So you need to take heed too. Be you, do you. You know.
By doing for you, you are doing for the world.
Exactly.
And that's where it's at.
Are you sure you're not a therapist?
I don't know. I'm thinking I might go get my license real quick.
She is, but she don't have a license. But you don't need a license. That's what we just got them saying.
I know.
That's very helpful.
I think it would be cool if I got certified. I think I might go tap in real quick and just sign up. I got this.
Yeah, but you don't have to identify as a therapist or a coach to help people and be kind.
That's
and
true.
Love people. That's free. Yeah, loving people.
I know that that's my mission in this world. That's my purpose in this world. I love to do so many different things. I'm pulled in so many different directions creatively, blah, 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 blah. I am here to love people. I'm here to love people, period.
Yep.
That's my mission.
Your wife would just keep dropping gems. You don't have to identify as anything to be kind. I love that. That was in a podcast. That was it.
That's a perfect quote.
Yeah.
In the podcast. That's it. Period. No. Okay. So,
well, we do want to ask you one question that we ask everybody.
Yes, we do.
Because we're here to really inspire people. We are music focused, but we want to bring value to people. And I know this podcast is really helping people. So can you just give us a little bit more, just some advice that you have for anybody that's listening and they're really struggling out there?
Advice. Another deep question for me, huh? Advice. There's so much. Advice that I would have given my younger self is to be patient with yourself, be patient with the process. Anything you plant does take time to grow. When I reflect back, I've been planting all along. I may have planted stuff that I didn't want. So be mindful in what you plant. Because I am a firm believer that what you reap, you do sow. So make sure that what you're sowing is of goodness, and like I said, not only is good for you, but good for those around you. Lead with love, no matter how hard it is. Forgive and let go, because forgiveness is truly about you. And the last one that I've been learning is don't go to sleep angry. I remember that growing. I remember that that's a scripture. I don't know. Don't quote me. I don't know what verse. I'm not a Bible scholar, but don't go to sleep angry at people because you just life is just really too short. Like I know people that have lost loved ones. I mean, in their 30, 31, early 30s, you know, and it just makes me realize like life is just really too short. So let go of the bullshit.
You're right about that.
Let go of the bullshit.
Let go of the bullshit.
And be you, do you. Unapologetic.
Yes.
Period.
You don't need permission. You don't need permission to be who you are at all.
Right. You don't owe anybody anything.
No.
You owe it to yourself to be happy.
Stop explaining. You don't need validation. You don't need the acceptance. Your tribe will find you.
There you go.
Yes.
No, that's right.
So tap in. BeYouDoYouCoaching.com. We'll have the link in the description. And there you can find all of your social medias, your podcast, and your merch is there too. So connect on all social medias with you and get tapped in for sure.
Facebook, Instagram, BeYouDoYouCoaching.com. The merchandise store is in the works.
Yes.
And podcast.
Yes, but you can check out the merch because it's dope and
it was
definitely
creative.
need to get you some merch.
Absolutely.
Stop buying Nike. Stop buying all that stuff that's not doing nothing for the world.
They don't even pay you.
Yep, they don't even pay you. They don't even try to help you. They don't give you any positivity advice.
Yep.
So, yeah,
definitely tap in. Thank you so much, Key, for sharing your time, your space, your energy, your knowledge, your advice, and your love with everybody. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
We pray that you have a great rest of your week. We know you're going to excel at whatever you're going to do this week because you just set yourself up for it.
Yep.
Let's get it.
Rise like a phoenix into a realm of the unknown.